Fresh off of his and his team's incredible victory unionizing the first Amazon warehouse in the United States, Chris Smalls has been making the rounds on the various media networks, as well he should, getting some well-deserved press out of this historic win. And last night, he took this media tour to the number one news show in primetime, Tucker Carlson Tonight on Fox News.
Christian Smalls is a union leader at Amazon, and we're happy to have him join us now. Christian, thanks so much for coming on. Were you surprised that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has said repeatedly that she's on the side of the worker against the corporation, wasn't standing with you at the barricades?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just her. It was all of them pretty much. It's not
fair.
I don't want it to make it just between us and AOC because, a lot of them didn't show up. And, once again, we have no ill will against them. We know that whether they showed up or not, they didn't make or break our election. We just had to continue to organize.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird moment because, I'm on the right. I've never been particularly pro-union, but it does seem like Amazon needs some counterbalance. Like, it's this huge company. The workers have no power, and maybe we could, share a little power with people who work there. So that's my view anyway. So tell us where you are in your organizing efforts.
Well, right now, we're fighting for a contract. Amazon's disputing the election results. So we're in walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time. We're fighting for a contract. We're preparing for another election in 2 weeks on April 25th. We're going to be voting at a second location directly across the building that we just unionized. So we're in the thick of a fight right now, a legal battle. And, we just have to stay grounded and pretty much begin our campaign all over again.
You'd think that Amazon would be open to a union, wouldn't you? It's a very progressive company. Why do you think they're trying to thwart you from organizing?
Amazon hasn't been unionized in this country since the beginning of its existence, and they're very anti-union. They created a system that hires and fires people. They created a system that they have full control of the working people, and having a union obviously brings representation for the workers that'll benefit the workers at the bottom, like myself, hourly associates, entry-level workers that don't get the right to negotiate. So forming a union gives us the right to collective bargain with the company, form a contract to protect ourselves. So that's exactly what we're trying to do with the Amazon Labor Union. We're hoping that we'll be a catalyst for something that'll take place nationwide.
Well, I certainly am rooting for you.
Okay, so that was the exchange. And, Tucker got his, predictable barbs in there against AOC with the Sandy Cortez, blah, blah, blah. That was the angle that he used to sort of attack that story. He asked Chris about AOC's lack of support, and Chris, very, very quickly got on message by saying, yeah, she wasn't there, but, in fairness, neither was anybody else. And so we did it without them. And then the rest of the conversation was all about his union organizing efforts. So that was a great job by Chris to sort of steer the segment where he wanted to take it. But, of course, the fact that Chris Smalls even appeared on Tucker Carlson was going to draw the ire and the scorn of certain liberal Twitter personalities, one of them here being a guy I had never heard of until last night, Andrew Lawrence. Andrew Lawrence works for Media Matters, the David Brock nonprofit founded in 2004 as a supposed counterweight to talk radio and right-wing media outlets like Fox News and the like. And so he says in reference to this, yeah, this isn't it. First of all, just the smug fucking, such little, fucking, just sarcastic, weaselly little twerps. This isn't it? Well, what is it, Andrew? What do you have to show for yourself? This is a guy who won. He won, and now he's taking a well-deserved victory lap, which is not only serving as a victory lap, but it is serving to further get his message out there to audiences that may not be susceptible to his message at first. That's the whole point of going on Tucker Carlson show. So he got a lot of pushback. Crystal Ball pushed back against this. Glenn Greenwald pushed back against this. I did my own little reply, which actually got a fair amount of responses. And my response was basically, who the fuck are you to be lecturing Chris Smalls about where and how he should spread his message? This is a guy who won. He won. What have you won? You've won shit. You're nothing. You're garbage. You work for the lowlife of all lowlifes, David Brock. So after he gets some pushback, he replies to people, a lot of people are missing my point, so I'll be a little more clear. Tucker Carlson is a hateful bigot, and he uses his program every night to spread his hateful bigotry. Someone like Smalls appearing on his show only gives Tucker credibility he doesn't deserve. This right here is a tweet that only a rich white liberal would send out. Let me just break this down here. Tucker Carlson is a hateful bigot, and he uses his program every night to spread his hateful bigotry. Chris Smalls is a working-class black man. I guarantee you, I bet my life on this, that Chris Smalls encounters on a fairly regular basis bigots who are more threatening than Tucker Carlson. This whole idea that Tucker Carlson is like, you know, some sort of like grand wizard. That is an idea that only a privileged white liberal who consumes this media nonstop could have. Okay? I guarantee you, working class black and brown people like Chris Smalls have encountered far worse than Tucker Carlson on a regular basis. And so Chris Smalls is not afraid of Tucker Carlson. Because, oh, this guy's a hateful bigot. I can't talk to him. Working class black and brown people not only encounter bigots on a fairly regular basis, but they have to deal with them. They have to deal with them because they're out there in the world. And if you're a working class person, you're out there in the world too. And you don't get to pick and choose who you come into contact with, the way Andrew Lawrence does, the way all these, you know, blue checkmark libs do. Andrew Lawrence, for some reason, doesn't have a blue checkmark. He has 60,000 followers. He works for Media Matters. You'd think he would. For some reason, he doesn't. But the point is, like, real deal people like Chris Smalls don't get to curate their reality in the way that these media-obsessed liberals do. And so in their mind, Tucker Carlson is this unique danger. Working class black and brown people, he's not a unique danger. He's no more danger than anybody else. Certainly no more danger than Joe Biden. How many millions of black people were wrongfully incarcerated because of Tucker Carlson's crime bill? 0. Oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't Tucker Carlson's crime bill, right? Or if we're worried about hateful bigots and hateful bigotry, what about former Obama press secretary turned Amazon higher-up Jay Carney, who actually engineered a racist smear campaign against Chris Smalls after Amazon fired him for protesting unsafe working conditions when COVID started? Jay Carney said Chris Smalls was unintelligent and inarticulate. Is that not a hateful, bigoted comment, Andrew Lawrence? Or is he not a hateful bigot because he is an Obama alum who works for Amazon? Tucker Carlson's a hateful bigot, right? He's a unique danger to Chris Smalls and everything he represents. Well, is Jay Carney such a unique danger? Jay Carney has tried to cause Chris Smalls much, much, much more material harm than Tucker Carlson ever has or ever will. All right, so that's number one. Number two, someone like Smalls appearing on his show only gives Tucker credibility he doesn't deserve. This is another pathological obsession that these liberals have with credibility or legitimacy. They act as if they are the arbiters of legitimacy, and they and their followers get to be the judge of who is legitimate and who is not. In reality, Tucker Carlson already has legitimacy, because that legitimacy comes from the only people who it can possibly come from, which is his audience. He has the largest audience of any show on cable TV, which means he has been granted legitimacy by the millions of people who watch him every night, whether these liberals like it or not. The reason people like Andrew Lawrence feel as though they have some say in who is credible, who is legitimate, and who is not, is because they travel in very elite circles. A lot of them come from elite schools. They swim in these elite media circles. They rub elbows with elite business people, elite political figures. And so in their minds, they're the gatekeepers. And they determine who is legitimate and credible and who is not. But that's in their own minds. That's just a fantasy of theirs. In real life, a person has legitimacy if they have an audience. Joe Rogan has legitimacy because he has a huge audience and he has huge influence. Tucker Carlson has legitimacy because he has a huge audience. And so Chris Smalls is not giving him credibility by going there. Chris Smalls is using the credibility that Tucker has established with his audience to spread his message to a Fox News audience, which is not a particularly pro-union audience. And Tucker in that segment even said, look, I'm on the right. I've not been, generally pro-union throughout my life. But it does seem like the richest corporation in the world should be sharing some of that money and power with the people who work for them. And so I wish you well. I'm rooting for you. And so I think Chris was absolutely right to go on his show. I thought he did a great job steering the segment in a way that was productive for him and his movement. And they should do this as much as possible. As much as possible. It is not their responsibility whatsoever to do PR for even, progressive Democrats like AOC. Like I said, if AOC didn't want to be criticized in a segment like that, she could have fucking shown up. Period. It's not Chris Small's problem. It's not the labor movement's problem. It's the Democrats' problem for not being sufficiently pro-labor if they get criticized for not being sufficiently pro-labor anywhere, on any outlet. On any outlet. Doesn't matter where. That's irrelevant. Oh, you're giving him credibility. He's the number one show in his time slot. He already has credibility. Andrew Lawrence and Media Matters doesn't have a say in whether or not Tucker Carlson has credibility. That's what they don't understand. They don't understand that. In their mind, someone is not legitimate unless they say they are legitimate. But ultimately, it's the people who determine who's legitimate and who's not, based on who has ratings and who doesn't. I'm sure Andrew Lawrence thinks CNN is a more legitimate outlet. CNN Plus, that paid subscription program they put out, less than 10,000 viewers a day. Me, here. Look at this set I have here. Spare bedroom converted into a home office that I share with my wife. / toy storage for my kids. I have almost as big an audience as CNN Plus. So, yep, good on him. And who cares what these idiots have to say?
Please clap.